Australia is a modern-day example of how extreme weather caused by climate change will impact the rest of the world in the near future. Extreme weather is threatening the livelihoods of many Australians and the lives of the animals that inhabit the continent.
We've had sort of basically 5 consecutive droughts in 15 years, hard droughts.
Other Australians are experiencing the alarming pace at which nature is being destroyed.
To me, who's been diving now for 50 years on this reef, it looks like a graveyard.
Yet, despite this, Australia continues mining for fossil fuels as though nothing is wrong.
I think we have about enough brown coal to last about 500 years of current energy production.
ESG analysts from Nordea are visiting Australia to see the consequences for themselves. Two hours drive south of Mitchell in Queensland, Eric lives with his wife Kay on their farm. They have a big anniversary coming up.
We'll have been here 30 years this Christmas.
The ongoing drought they have experienced since 2012 has drastically impacted their lives.
We normally run sort of 1,500 head of cattle, of mixed cattle here. We were back to 200 head. We're hoping that it'll rain in October. The weather forecasters tell us it's going to.
Eric's reservoir is as dry as it has ever been. The October rains are badly needed.
We will either start destocking what cattle we can. Worst case scenario is it doesn't survive and you have to put it down. This time around, it's a bit like if the last drought didn't get you, this one might.
Australia is home to the wondrous Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef and a site of unparalleled diversity and beauty. The ESG analysts have accompanied Dr. Charlie Veron, a marine scientist and coral expert. He emphasizes the importance of the oceans as a cooling factor for the world and explains how the coral reefs are dying.
Climate change is happening to the oceans first because it's the oceans that absorb heat and control the rest of the world. 2/3 of our planet is ocean and they're in control. They're the big guys. And we're going to change what the big guy is doing, and that will rebound on everything on this planet. More than any other country, Australia is leading the world in the destruction of coral reefs, and that includes obviously the Great Barrier Reef.
Australia is now overtaking Indonesia as the world's largest exporter of coal. A new mega mine with an annual production capacity of 60 million tonnes of coal, now under construction, will add to the country's massive CO2 emissions. However, the government is finding it increasingly difficult to get financial institutions to back its projects.
There has been changes around that recently, particularly with investments in new coal and the Adani project, which you've probably heard about. It's a very large mine. It's what they call a mega mine. The major banks in Australia have basically ruled out funding that particular project. In fact, the largest lobby group, the Australian Energy Council, which represents all of the existing fossil generators in Australia, has officially come out and said that none of their members will invest in a new coal plant.
The question now is, how long will it take for Australia to wean itself off coal?
I think it could be done relatively quickly if there was the political will to do it. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. I think 20 years is completely doable.
Back at the farm south of Mitchell, Eric has no doubts about why the droughts continue.
It's got to be climate change. I guess mankind has got something to do with it. There wouldn't be anyone in our situation with the weather like it is that's not worried.
On the diving boat, the ESG analyst and Charlie Veron are ready to take the plunge.
The Great Barrier Reef is home to about a quarter to a third of all marine species at some point in their life cycle. Now, if coral reefs go over, that means ecological collapse of the oceans. It sounds like a graveyard. If you go to a rich, healthy, vibrant coral reef, it's really noisy and it's full of colour and it's full of action, activity everywhere, fish, you name it. It's very much alive. It is like swimming through a graveyard. At least it is to me, because I hear nothing and I see the remains of what was, very familiar to me, a fabulous place.
Nordea believes it is important to invest in companies that have the solutions to curb this adverse development. We have to work to find a way of channeling capital into solutions rather than investing it in ventures that continue to destroy this reef, and indeed this planet.